Hi there, Zamit for NerdTube. These are my thoughts and spoilers of season 1 and 2 of the British comedy drama called The Outlaws, currently on BBC iPlayer as well as Amazon Prime. This is a lovely show. It's about a bunch of different people who've all done kind of misdemeanors, which has put them in a situation where they have to do community service. Some of them don't seem to be that bad. Some of them are quite bad, but because for a lot of these people it's their first crime or their first offence, they do community service. Barring that of the character of Frank, played by Christopher Walken, the legendary Christopher Walken, who's just come out of jail, and because of him being a career criminal, he still has to do community service after he's come out of jail before he's been rehabilitated into the real world. Christopher Walken, as we're going to be focusing on just for a little bit, is a legend among a lot of talented actors here. And watching him perform and doing those Christopher Walken esque mannerisms, him being his full, most Christopher Walken-ness, it's just fantastic to watch. I love him every time he's on screen. Fantastic actor, and it's just so nice to see actors like that, real Hollywood legends in shows like this. This is what you want to see. You want to see your actors mixing it up, and I give credit for Walken for mixing it up right here. The rest of our outlaws, played by a variety of great young and old British actors and actresses, all play people who are all very different from one another, but they're all working together, getting to know each other, and they all go through different arcs as well. And one of the scenarios that they come across during the course of this show is they find some drug money in the location that they're looking after cleaning up as to do with their community service, and that leads to a whole crazy arc for all of them when it comes to having this drug money. What they're going to do with the money? Are they going to keep the money? How is it going to change their lives? Dealing with drug dealers, dealing with gangsters, dealing with hoodlums, all of these sort of things. And because of all of these sort of scenarios and situations, as well as also the law on their case as well, this show should be renamed to Close Shave, because there's so many close shaves that happen during the course of both seasons that if one mishap does happen, these people's lives are over. It's ruined. But fortunately for them, they seem to, you know, get over that particular obstacle until the next scenario, and another close shave then happens after that. So yeah, close shaves is definitely something that happens quite a lot in this particular show. But we do get some fantastic arcs as well. For me, the most interesting arc is that of arguably the main character of the show, played by Rihanna Barreto, who plays Rani. Rani is this young girl who who's a straight A student. Her parents hope that she goes to Oxford University, but she's also a bit of a kleptomaniac as well, and she steals a few things, which is why she's doing community service. She gets to meet certain people like Ben, and they fall in love and they have a relationship. And Ben is from the wrong sides of the street, so to speak, but he has aspirations of just being a regular dude, living a normal life, having a business, being able to just come home and have a cup of coffee and put all the world behind him after a hard day's work. That's the life he wants. He wants a regular life like everybody else has. Whilst Ronnie, after being with people like Ben, who's got some gangster mates around him or gangster associates and stuff like that, and they end up doing some drug runs and running a drug organization at one particular point to make some money for a drug dealer, she starts to love this particular lifestyle. It's really for her. She really sinks her teeth into it, and you can see her coming from a regular lifestyle of being sheltered and living with her parents and just kind of a boring mundane life. It's not what she wants to go back to. This is what she loves. Whilst her boyfriend, who comes from a very dangerous world, wants the boring life that she doesn't like anymore. And you can see that conflict of interest from both of them. It's really fascinating seeing both of their arcs, come to think of it. So that's probably one of the most fascinating things, as well as our left wing militant and our right winger come close to alt right, who's kind of being suppressed by his racist dad to a degree. We've got the pushover in the character of Stephen Merchant, who's this lawyer who's never done anything bad in his life, but got caught with a prostitute, so now he has to do this community service. We've got this sort of British version of Paris Hilton, so to speak. Um, this woman who's like of high society, socialite lady who's always on social media, who has no responsibilities but starts to learn about responsibilities because she goes through her arc. You got the community support officer who has to deal with all of them as well. There's It's really great. And when it's funny, it's funny, and when it gets serious, it gets very serious. And then sometimes it melds as well. Yeah, it does get a bit jarring at times when there's so many obstacles that they all have to deal with constantly, and they constantly deal with them. It never gets too bad for all of our characters that it could mean jail time, because these guys are obviously people who are doing community support work. So if it gets any worse for them, it does mean jail. But it never gets that far. But in nearly every scenario they're in, it could end up being, their life being ruined. So it just happens too often. Sometimes you think, oh fuck, here we go again, another fucking obstacle. Here we go again, another scenario, another situation. It gets a bit much at times, and sometimes maybe the relationships you see with our characters is far more funny and far more enjoyable than them having to deal with all these fucking problems. But nevertheless, it's still a good show. Don't let that be a hindrance. I had really good fun with this show. It's fantastic, and when you see, like as I said earlier, Christopher Walken being his most Christopher Walken esque, giving the Christopher Walken mannerisms and stuff like that. Wow, it's just great to see a big Hollywood actor like this um, among British talent. It really is. You want to see people of all scales do everything they can. As an actor, whether it be working on stage, working in low budget films, working on small dramas, whatever it may be, they should be doing it because they should be showing their full range. Not everything needs to be a Hollywood fucking blockbuster, and I give Walken a lot of credit for doing something like this. Love it. Love seeing him in shit like this, and I hope it continues. Can't get enough. I'm going to be giving The Outlaws a solid 8 out of 10. If they do a season 3, I do look forward to it, because the way season 2 had ended, like there was a sense of closure, but you could see things continuing. And the character of Rani, I'm desperate to see where she goes, because she really wants to be a gangster girl. She really wants to be an undercover, sorry, not an undercover, but she wants to be a mafia boss lady. And even though she might not necessarily have the brawn to do it, she's definitely got the brains for it, and she can be intimidating as well. So somebody like her, wow, I'd love to see her make it in that department. It'll be fascinating to see her in that arc in season 3 as that gangster girl. So let me know what you think about this show, if you've seen it or not. I highly recommend it. As I said before, it's on iPlayer, BBC iPlayer that is, as well as Amazon Prime. I'm sure you guys can find it in alternative ways as well if you don't have those methods of watching it. I do recommend it, but remember, it's just a simple comedy drama, very British like at times. Some of the lingo and some of the humor might go over your head if you're not from my part of the world, but if you are, then you're gonna fucking love it. It's great stuff. And as I said earlier, you also got Christopher Walken in this too. Bonus. Anyway, don't forget to like, share, subscribe to NerdTube, the greatest YouTube and TikTok channel you never heard of. As I said before, and I say it again, we're on both platforms, so subscribe to us on both platforms. Take care now. Bye bye.